星をかぶってどこをやってなんかを飲んで Two and a half Oyajis, two and a half Oyajis, two and a half Oyajis. Well, let's pick up from the fact that in showbiz people tend to be out, but in real life you don't see it.
I don't know any. I don't think I know any homosexuals that are out. I think I knew a couple guys who I suspected, but even they.
That's true. I know some guys who but what was interesting was super effeminate guys, like guys who act so out that it's like, come on, don't patronize me.
I know.
Like, what are you talking about? No, like they're absolutely insistent that they're not.
I've had the same experience.
I know those guys.
Okay, whatever, but I think they're joking.
I should say as well, I actually work for a huge gay company. I mean, my workplace, the company president's openly gay. Like, quite a high percentage of people at work are gay, so I do hang out with a lot of gay people just day to day through work and going out, and so that I'm kind of in an unusual situation for that. But every place I've been to outside of that, like all the Japanese companies, totally had that situation.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's what the gay Japanese guys at my work, you would have no idea. Actually, those guys who are out, at least for work purposes, apart from one or two, comments I've been told here and there, you wouldn't have any idea. So this is the thing. I mean, we think we know who's gay by people who act what we think is gay, but truth is, well, most gay people act normal most of the time. There's a loaded phrase, but you know what I mean? They don't act in a way that distinguishes them as being homosexual. They're just, regular people.
Even in Tokyo, which is, I think, important to point out, because I think in places like Nagoya, it's still looked at as weird and abnormal. And I often find myself teaching my students, hey, no, you can't speak like that, It's not. You can't say the word abnormal. It's just different.
I come across the same stuff in Tokyo as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I figured you guys were progressive,
Well, I mean, a lot of the people I come in contact with will ask me, like, I'll make a remark, she and her girlfriend, and someone would be like, huh? And you mean, like, female friend? No, I mean, like, girlfriend. It's just like you get, Or, like, I was explaining the plot of a movie, and it was Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and I was like, he and his boyfriend, and it's just like, boyfriend? Well, you mean girlfriend, right? No, boyfriend.
Even in a movie.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm just explaining the plot of the movie, and they're like, oh, okay.
I wonder if they have any problems in Japan like they have in the States. I don't know if you guys saw the video by the guy named, I forgot, some kid who's like putting up pictures saying, hey, I'm gay and I get bullied a lot. And
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it gets better, like the campaign thing.
That kind of can't. Yeah, but I wonder if they have any problems like that in Japan. Or what about homosexuals in high school? Do they get bullied? Is there any kind of system to support them? I don't know.
Well, actually, when I was in high school, like in Osaka, I didn't really notice any. Well, I never noticed it going on because everybody acted so gay around me anyway. I mean, like I came into my class and like
what does that mean?
All the guys, no, the guys had like a sitting in your lap choo-choo train going on during lunch. They're like, hey, like how many of us can we sit on how many of us can we line up sitting on each other's laps and doing this? And they're like, hey, we can do 18 of us. And I was just like, this is a normal thing in my school in Osaka.
Actually, that's really true. Like Japanese high school kids are pretty like sexualized as well. I came over only on an exchange, but I have friends who have like been over like for a year, and yeah, there's a lot less inhibition. I think for me, what it comes down to, I think, is just the fact that they've never had Christianity in Japan. Sort of demonizing sex. I mean, the thing about homosexuality, when people react strange to it, it's not the same as in Western countries where it's like that's wrong. They're acting like that's not normal or that's different or that's not. Yeah, it's not that they're not condemning it. They're just like that's strange kind of a reaction.
I tend to get the reaction of like, oh, I haven't heard of that. something like that. But it's never like
that there really. Oh, I'll try that next time. Well, I just read a short story about British guys who grew up in all-male schools, and they fall in love with each other. And
I went to an all-male school.
What?
I went to.
I want to ask you about that. I mean, I'm not.
No, I was not raped.
I know a British guy here in Japan, and he told me, he said, yes, when I was in school, that this guy buggered me senseless. He would say, he just.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant at first, and apparently. This is 20 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
Apparently, that kind of behavior, and I just read this short story about this guy who had all these affairs with other men in high school, and then he grew up and he got normal, he got married, he got normal. I'm sorry, that's looked up. I was raised homophobic. Remember, I've grown quite a bit, but no, he's married, and his ex-lovers are married, and they're all friends now, and it's all kind of like not spoken of. And he's a short story writer. He's writing about this. But does this happen in like New Zealand? Is England the only place that this happens in?
Well, New Zealand's a small country. It's like Idaho, so like that stuff gets around kind of fast. It's kind of different. We don't have the same boarding school culture that they have in the UK. We have boarding schools where you send your kids away, but not quite like them. So it's slightly different. But there are always, when someone comes out in New Zealand, it's probably like someone coming out in the Midwest in the States. Everyone in the school finds out pretty quick. And in New Zealand, honestly, like, I'm ashamed to say it, but New Zealand's not kind. Again, it's probably a lot like countryside US.
What about Australia? You're half Australian, right? I know you don't like to admit it.
Yes, my shameful secret is that I'm half Australian. Well, the thing about Australia culturally is that they're a bit more like Osaka. They're a bit more like everything's okay. Australians kind of celebrate. They're one of the biggest gay pride parades in the world. Sydney is a huge
yeah, of course. Think of that big movie in the desert, the Queen of the Desert or whatever.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, there's a very marked between country and the cities. The very liberal cities and extremely redneck, conservative, hardcore countryside. But no, I have plenty of gay Australian friends, and it seems to be a very easy place to be gay. And a lot of New Zealanders go over there for that. New Zealand's just a small town country, basically, so, with all the good and bad things about that. So it's a bit like with Japan as well. A lot of people from countryside in Japan, I'm sure it's pretty hard to be... It's not so much that Tokyo is tolerant of gay people, it's just that it's such a big city that there's a place that they can all go to and feel comfortable here.
There are gay clubs in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Especially in places like Nichome. Yeah.
Well, we have to remind people who don't know that Okama clubs, Okama means gay, but Okama Club is kind of a show, like a cabaret.
Well, not exactly. It means effeminate guys, so it can be...
No, Okama Club.
But I don't know, even Okama clubs that I know about, there's some that are like Kabajo, there are some like, I don't know, what's your take?
Actually, the Okama club it's Okama bar, actually, that I used to be able to go to. It was a men's only bar. And I was able to get in.
That's not what Okama means in Nagoya. It means just like a cabaret place.
Yeah, well, where I've been to in Nichome, I've only been to the Kaba clubs, and I know that they're regular bars as well.
This was in Nichome, and it could be a Nichome thing that a lot of the gay clubs are actually gender restricted.
Yeah.
And they very strictly enforce it. But I was there because, like, oh yes. The Okama bar that I went to, like, one of the guys who came in, he's like, oh, she's with me, so it was okay. But actually, a lot of the lesbian girl bars that I go to, I've seen guys physically get pushed out by the bartenders. They're like, you're a guy, sorry, you can't come in.
And I'm sure those bartenders are probably bigger and meaner than the guys that they're pushing out.
Actually.
What about transgender? What about people who,
You see, and actually, that's what I was kind of wondering about. And there was this one club called Adezakura, is actually the one I mentioned. They're a pretty popular club. And the sign actually says it's like girls only until 2 a.m. And then it's gay mix after that. And that's what I noticed when some of the I don't know if they're like completely transgender or transsexual or what, but new half kind of looking folk would come in after that. If you are trans, though, I understand that a lot of the clubs you would go to are the mixed clubs. Like the biggest one is called Arty Farty. I think it's been around since like the late 80s. And that is a mixed club. But some of the smaller bars are actually quite gender restricted.
Yeah. So it's discriminating against...
which is like, it's gender discrimination, and it puts people who are trans in a really awkward position.
Yeah, you would think they'd be more sympathetic.
I think, like, but the thing is, Nichome Nichome is actually, it's a really small place, so everybody knows everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as you know the crowd there, I'm pretty sure they would let you in.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Another thing which I find interesting is, I mean, I think anyone who, I've been in Ichome a couple of times with, with female friends, who like to hang out in the Okama host bars there. And it's something that, like hostesses and stuff like that.
It's a great place to pick up people.
Depending on what you're into, but my image always was, and I must admit, and this is probably my own prejudice as well, in terms of gay community, it's males who are very prominent to my eye and my awareness. I'm not really very aware about lesbian community in Tokyo.
Yeah, that's true.
I picked the exact same thing up in Nichome. You can go there and see a lot of couples that are guys, and there are a lot of bars that are aimed to guys. But actually, as a girl, it was really hard for me to actually pick and choose, like, where the girls' bars were, because it's all hearsay. And the first time I went there, it was actually with a male friend, so I had no idea, like, where, what was where. And then eventually, it came down the grapevine, like, from my girlfriends were like, oh, you should go to Tamago, because it's a girls-only bar. And another one, like a event called Miracle Girls, like, I don't know what kind of bar it is usually, but it's like on Sunday night they do a Diamond Holic event, and I just happened upon that by chance, and I was like, girls bar. And then it was other girls in Nichome saying, hey, come to this bar with me, let's go. And that's how I found out. Because it's just a sign, and like it's just like ABC bar, and you're like, I don't know what's in there.
Yeah. And it's true actually anywhere in Tokyo. I mean, there's always these rows of bar signs and stuff like that, and it's kind of intimidating to try to figure out, what they are. It
is. And some bars
come down.
Actually, one of my favorite bars doesn't even have a sign, and there's no indication that it's actually there.
Like
there are a few places like that here. Only the people who are in the know.
Yeah, and like you even try to find the place and address on Google Maps, and even that's confusing. The only way I found the place is I went to the block that I decided it was at. Yeah. I went to a bar close by, bought a drink from the bartender, and then was like, hey, can you tell me where this bar is? And they're like, oh yeah, it's over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's how they, I guess that's how people keep it kind of, to themselves.
But a lot of people, I get a lot of emails asking about, hey, I'm gay and I'm coming, I want to go to Japan, but I'm a little worried about how I will be accepted there. But actually, there is quite a healthy community here, in Tokyo at least.
It seems to me that actually foreigners being gay seems to be a lot more accepted than Japanese people being gay.
Yes. There's an English school in Tokyo. I don't know the name, but I've heard of it. That all the teachers are gay. And actually, women like it because they're not going to be hit on by the teachers. Because English teachers, scumbags, just hit on anything. Can't trust those guys at all. No, seriously. But apparently that is true. But now speaking of homosexuals on YouTube, well, we haven't spoken of that yet. But there are no openly gay, really. I mean, who make their whole channels on that or talk about it much, are there? Yeah,
but there are. I mean, well. I mean, there are guys like Kansai
PJ
and Atomic Boy X who, they're not, always talking about it or anything like that, but they're open.
Has Atomic Boy X videos about that?
Well, he makes videos about Nichome and stuff all the time. I mean, he's, he doesn't. I don't think he hides it.
He's a good-looking man.
Yes, indeed. He's gotten a lot better looking since he's been here. Exactly. He's
lost like 120 pounds or something. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a whole 2 rens, I'm guessing,
and then I think there's the newer one, Mexican geisha, who basically made his
geisha? I don't know
but it's geisha spelled Gay.
Yeah. He looks like a young, handsome version of me. Well, I used to look like that when I was young. Seriously.
And yeah, he made his first video saying, "Hey,
a young, handsome version of you is like a paradox. It's like a sorry."
In a time channel, I went home and saw pictures of myself. I didn't recognize myself. I'm like, who's this guy? Like, that's you, man. Oh, God, what happened?
So tell me about this channel. So what's this channel about?
Mexican geisha. He's a bright young man. He's coming in Japan. He's not here yet, right?
Yeah, he's not here yet. I think he's coming soon.
He's in Texas. I think.
Right.
Yeah, No, he's
You mean
in
propaganda buster? It's
He's in
propaganda buster.
Illinois. He's in Illinois.
I
Yeah.
thought Texas.
Propaganda Buster came out of the closet, and he's going to come to Japan now.
Oh, don't say that. You're going to get sued by the whole by the Japanese community.
He always loaded revolvers around on his videos. You don't want to watch the guy. He's
Does he really?
yeah. He's like we heard about some sort of legal issue in Japan. He's like, this is how we do it in Texas. He's waving a gun around and stuff.
Kidding. Oh my god.
He's a big fan of right wingers. I'm going to edit this part out.
Well, listen,
I don't want
those
to
of
get
you
shot.
who are interested in gay issues in Japan,
That's right.
Mexican Geisha is coming to Japan, and he has pledged. He's emailed me, and he's told me he's going to talk about this, about homosexuality in Japan, and from a homosexual's point of view. So it should be pretty interesting. Now, what about lesbians? Any open lesbians in the? I don't think so.
I mean, Japan's a tough one. I mean, there are.
Japan, yeah. I knew one couple here, but one was Japanese and one was Gaijin. Ren? No?
I'm trying to... No, I was just thinking in my mind, like, there was a pole dancer. There was a pole dancer that did it. But no, I think I was just thinking about pole dancers and not...
And then you get distracted.
You don't have to go back to pole dancing.
And then what were we talking about?
I know. But yeah, I'm trying to think... I was trying to think of, like, any of the Japanese bloggers that might be open lesbian, but if there are any, I am not aware of them.
I won't mention any names, but I was at the Kobe meetup about a month ago at Busan Kevin.
Who are the lesbians?
And all these girls who wouldn't talk to me are obviously lesbian. No, seriously, there was this one blogger there who was really hitting on guys. I don't know if they were gay or not, but he was really like, I'm gonna get this guy tonight. It was impressive. He was so genki, so aggressive. It was hilarious. Not because he was gay, but just because anyone who's just that aggressive about going out and getting somebody is. Well, it's refreshing to see.
That's good. I admire that.
If you go back and watch the Kobe meetup videos, it's pretty obvious who he's talking about, actually.
Really?
and he's a great guy, actually.
He is. No, he is a great guy. I like him. I really love hanging out with
at a bar together, overlooking a view of the city, enjoying cocktails together. We had a good time. I had a good time hanging out with him in the top of our hotel. It was fantastic.
No, it was good. He's a good guy. He's funny.
He really is. He's a good guy. And if he if he scores, good on him.
And if he doesn't mind, if he sees this video and doesn't mind, we'll fill the screen with your name.
That's it for you. It'll be rainbows across the screen.
We'll put annotations on.
Trumpets. It'll be very subtle, very tasteful.
You should talk about that, though. I mean, well, I don't know.
But
everyone.
It's up to him. I mean,
YouTube is for whatever you want.
You're always going on about this. You're always talking about how so and so should talk more about being black. Well, people do that more, being black or being gay or whatever.
I don't do that.
You do. You get annoyed that people don't like that you direct people who ask you questions.
I'm annoyed that
gay.
people talk shit about other people behind their back and don't come. That's what I'm annoyed.
That's a different conversation. But
Okay.
But people, just because someone's gay, they don't have to always talk about being.
No,
gay.
that's true. That's true.
I mean.
I never talk about being Hispanic.
I don't
at
talk
all.
about being bald. It's sure I reflect a little bit.
No, you cut that off. I thought that was like a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, I can tell. Like if it starts raining, I'm the first person to know. On a cycle race, if I lose my helmet, I'm like instantly the fastest guy there. There are all sorts of advantages. But I'm not going to make a whole series about that.
You've got more testosterone. That's what happens. That's why gay people.
Well, I've burned it all up. That's what this
bald
is.
people. Actually, bald gays, they're the most dangerous.
Run like hell. Yeah. or
Ben is being intelligent, being psychic.
approaching direction if that's what you're into, which is totally fine.
Yeah, I think let me just do this right now because I think that's what I've been doing for the last few
Take your
minutes.
socks off. Oh no, I don't want to.
Putting my foot in my mouth, deep. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a good place to end
that note,
this embarrassing finish here. Thanks everyone for watching. If you don't know who you're watching here, I don't know how you're going to edit this, Hiko. So we have Ren over there, maybe?
Over here? Somewhere.
Well,
There,
You
somewhere.
guys are pointing somewhere. I don't know.
The female, not the bald guy and not the guy with the glasses. That's Ren, in the headphones. And then Hiko Simon in the other place over there. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you're not sub to those guys, please check them out. Oh, and I think we should make sure people don't know. Some people don't know that we do not really hate bad communication.
Oh yeah, no, I love those guys. Actually,
No,
it's
they do a good show.
we
They
totally
didn't
call
invent this format, by the way. They didn't invent. I'll stick my guns on that. They didn't invent the talking to each other on camera format, but they do a good
really
show.
shows. Yeah, and I like them. And by the way, in the next video, usually we flip this back and forth between me and Victor, but we have decided that we'll probably, when we get these new Oyajis on, so the next one is going to be on Ren's channel. So make sure you go and watch the next episode on Ren's channel, and it'll be the topic of her choosing.
Ren, what are you going to talk about? Do you know yet?
Your perception of hell.
Who?
Hell.
Hell.
You know,
Hell.
demons, hell.
I think you meant Hal from
You go
2001.
Well, that could be hell too.
That could be hell.
Cheers.
Yes. So see you next time on Ren's channel. Peace.